Checkmating NATO's war in Ukraine, a geopolitical gambit. The war in Ukraine did not emerge in a vacuum. It was a direct consequence of NATO's expansionist ambitions, initially conceptualized by Zbigniew Brzezinski in the 1990s and later championed by the neoconservatives in Washington. The Rothschild-controlled city of London, which ultimately owns the financial institutions behind the U.S. government and military-industrial complex, played a crucial role in pushing this conflict forward. They fully understood that Russia's red line was NATO's expansion into Ukraine, unlike Sweden and Finland, which did not provoke the same response. Key operatives from the Washington cabal, including corrupt figures like Victoria Nuland, Hillary Clinton, and Biden's D.C. cartel, weaponized Ukraine as a proxy to challenge Russia. They manipulated Zelensky into playing their game and actively sabotaged any potential peace agreements, most notably the 2022 Istanbul negotiations. Boris Johnson, acting as the cabal's enforcer, was sent to derail talks, ensuring that war remained the only option. The checkmate move, U.S. withdrawal from NATO. The most effective way to neutralize this war and undermine the cabal's strategy is for the U.S. to exit NATO. Without the U.S., NATO becomes a paper tiger, incapable of posing any real threat to Russia. The rationale behind the war disappears, as does any justification for continued military engagement. Ukraine's NATO membership was never a serious possibility. It was merely a pretext used by Washington and London to provoke Russia into war. If the U.S. withdraws from NATO, the alliance loses its primary pillar of strength, and the justification for Russia's actions collapses. Without the U.S., NATO's military and financial backbone disintegrates, leaving European nations scrambling to build their own security apparatus, an endeavor doomed to failure. The strategic role of Turkey. To reinforce this shift, Turkey should also exit NATO alongside the U.S. Ankara's geopolitical position makes it a key player in any future security framework, and its departure would further destabilize NATO's structure. The EU would then be left to attempt constructing its own version of NATO, an effort that would be nothing short of a mission impossible. The European Union lacks the financial and military cohesion necessary to replace NATO, especially without American and Turkish backing. The endgame, exposing the cabal's weakness. This strategy serves multiple objectives. Ending the war in Ukraine. With NATO effectively dismantled, the rationale for Russia's military campaign disappears, forcing negotiations toward a settlement. Weakening the cabal's grip. By dismantling NATO, the power structure controlled by the Rothschild-backed financial institutions is significantly undermined. Forcing Europe into strategic autonomy. Without U.S. and Turkish support, the EU would have to navigate its own security landscape, revealing the inherent flaws in its dependency on external military backing. Exposing Washington's war machine, the neocons and the military-industrial complex would lose their primary mechanism for global intervention, forcing a re-evaluation of U.S. foreign policy priorities. With Trump's potential return to power, we find ourselves at a geopolitical roulette table, where reign NEVA plus, fates vast Jew. Now is the moment to make the decisive move that will reset the global power structure. The U.S. and Turkey leaving NATO is the ultimate checkmate, one that forces Russia, the EU, and the cabal into an entirely new playing field where their old strategies no longer apply.